Today we're going to be going over this Polaroid. The first thing that I noticed about this was it came with one of those Wii condoms, if you've ever seen those before. Why it came with one of these, I couldn't tell you. I guess to help prevent you from like dropping and breaking it, because this has got to be one of the cheapest cameras that I've ever used. It looks a little bit newer. It's one of the only cameras I've ever used that actually has a micro SD card. Oh, batteries. And the micro SD card is hard to get the card out. As you can see, I'm using this little 1 gig. Word to the wise, if you're looking to buy a SD card or micro SD card for one of these retro cameras, go for 1 gigabyte or lower. Most cameras that I've ever used seem to work with that size. I don't think I've ever had a camera not work with 1 gig, but I have had cameras that don't work with like 2 gig and 3 gig cards. So 1 gig seems to be the sweet spot. It's a very pretty red color, which I quite enjoy. It's very simple to turn on and use. It's got one of the worst little screens that I've ever seen on the camera.
Let's see what the freak I'm talking about. Turn this bad boy on. Polaroid logo. And it looks really bad in the video, and let me tell you, it looks the same in person. You got your little battery, you got the zoom right here, so if I want to zoom in on this mocha pot right here. You got the date, which right now obviously it's not 2016, but changing the date on these is annoying because it resets every time you take out the batteries, so not worth it in my opinion. 3 megapixels, 2 stars, hand wave, and a mountain. There you know, makes perfect sense. If you hit this button, you get these, and it looks like you have scene selection. If you hit this one, which is on the left side, it moves right. And if you hit this one, which is on the right side, it moves left, which is just awful. Just purely awful. Going up and down makes sense. You got this up here. I mean, it literally even says select, and then it has like a D-pad. There's no D-pad on this. And then OK is set. There's no set on this either. We got image size, HD, VGA, and QVGA. Image quality. Super fine. Oh, whoops, I hit the wrong button again. White balance, color effect, standard, sepia, monochrome, and vivid. God, dude, these buttons are annoying. Image sharpness, memory full. Yeah, so not my favorite menu. Looks like it ran out of a little bit of battery while I was doing that. It takes a lot of battery to do this. All right, back to normal Declan.
But I do have to say, Polaroid does a great job of making these things like fun to use because it's so simple. There's 2 buttons on the top. One's a power button that's a little sunken in, so it's hard to click, and the other is just a straight mother freaking picture button. Pictures it takes are pretty awful too, but it does have a charm to it. It's hard to describe exactly what that means. Charm. There's a lot of different things that have charm to it, but this is extremely crappy and it feels awful. There is sort of a fun picture, you get fun picture moments, you know? It feels like you're using a retro camera, which I do like. Overall, using the 1 gig card, you can take over 300 pictures, so you're not gonna, it takes, you would expect with the 1 gig, you're only gonna be able to take 4 pictures, because that is how it would work on a new camera. But older cameras, the 1 gig actually works perfectly. It says that it's waterproof up to 3 meters, but I really don't trust that.
Do you see this hole right here? I just feel like water would get in there, you know? And on account that it's just a piece of plastic with screws holding it together, I don't trust that, you know? I just don't.
It's got a lock button on the bottom, so if you want to unlock or lock the batteries and SD card within the camera, you can. Not sure exactly why you would want to do that. It's also got a micro SD ports in the bottom of the camera itself. Quite fun. It uses AAA batteries, 2 of them to be exact. Something that's nice about this camera is that it actually does use batteries that you can buy in the store today. Some of their cameras that I've purchased are unusable because the batteries are just impossible to find because they use proprietary batteries. My verdict on this camera, it's a god-awful build quality camera, but it works. It does exactly what it needs to do. It's got a fun retro aesthetic to it. It's small, so you don't have to worry about this thing going anywhere. If you can, get the Wii condom that comes with it. The lens is awful. Simple flash, as you can see. It's not a very good flash. This is just 1 LED. Some of these older ones have real tube flashes that you can use. This one's not gonna be that, but you know what? It's a fun camera, all right. I would give it that. On the side, it even has a little loop thing here. So if you really want to loop your stuff to your hand or something, literally this is basically a Wii remote just with a camera in it. because of the weak condom. It's also got a screw on the bottom, standard size, so you can put it on a tripod, which why in the world you'd be putting this garbage on a tripod, I don't know. But it is usable garbage, but it works. If I just threw this on the wall back here, I would expect it to just explode. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if you have any electronics like that. Micro SD cards are way easier to find now, smaller ones especially, than SD cards. Evidently, that's hard to get nowadays with stupid cameras. It's got a micro SD port, which I'm not sure if you're ever gonna freaking use that. I bet you what that does is it lets you connect to your computer and remove some of the pictures.
So it definitely works just connecting it through USB. Once you turn it on, it turns on this little MSDC thing, and now it basically just acts like you can see some of the pictures that I took. It basically just acts like a micro SD reader, so that's kind of nice.
I've had people message me who had trouble. They didn't know how to actually extract the pictures from their camera. So that makes it very easy. It has no optical zoom, which some of these older ones do. A lot of older Sonys have optical zoom, which is super nice and handy to use, but obviously this bad boy doesn't. It's just going to be using digital. And since it has such garbage picture quality, in a good way, in a sweet Polaroid type way. Overall, I do give this a higher score than most. If you have any questions about digital cameras, please let me know in the comments, because I will gladly answer them. I even got some that have little stickers on them. I can give little tutorials on a crock that you want to learn. I don't know what you want to learn, so let me know. I am definitely one of the best people to give advice about older retro cameras, digital specifically. I used to run a retro digital camera shop, so I've purchased just so many of these bad boys that it's hard to even, so many different brands.